Tonight on KGW News, a terrifying moment for a Max rider pushed in front of a train that stopped just in time.
But if it was any other driver, and if the reactions were even slightly slower, I wouldn't be here today.
Plus, Nathan Vasquez unseats his boss in the race for Multnomah County DA.
For me, this is about really focusing on our community.
And if you were one of the tens of thousands who lost power today, turns out there's a clear-cut culprit. Then later, the friendly face easing the burden of grief during some of our most challenging times.
I think it's going to make a huge difference to people's lives.
Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. First at 11, we're hearing from a man who was pushed onto the Max tracks near Providence Park, as well as the train operator whose quick thinking saved him. Alma McCarty's in the newsroom with their story. Alma?
David, we spoke with that rider and that operator today, but as it turns out, we've also spoken with the suspect before while covering homelessness and fentanyl addiction. And tonight, he's charged with attempted murder.
Whether you're a passenger,
I've seen many things over the years that were off,
or an operator,
you really have to be on your toes for this job.
the Max trains and Max stations can be at times unpredictable.
you know, it doesn't always seem like the safest environment, but never would I think something would happen to me, and definitely not something that random.
This man, who requested we not use his name, was pushed onto the tracks in front of an oncoming train Tuesday afternoon near Providence Park.
It's had more time to sink in now, and I'm sure it will as time goes by. But yeah, when it happened, I wouldn't even say it was an adrenaline rush. It was almost like just robot thinking.
Moments prior, another automatic response as operator Dave Chastain witnessed a man sprinting towards the platform.
All of a sudden he ran towards the tracks and shoved a guy right into the tracks in front of me. And so I just threw on the emergency brake and stopped as quick as I could.
I looked to the left of me, I believe, which I seen the Max oncoming, and it stopped. I was told by an officer that I'm actually lucky that it was not a double car and a single car, because it would be highly unlikely he would have been able to stop.
As both men recovered from this near miss, Multnomah County deputies say the suspect, Michael Moreland, headed east to downtown. Investigators say he robbed multiple people before being taken into custody. While covering homelessness and addiction in Portland, KGW interviewed Moreland multiple times.
It's a cold thing out here, man.
Most recently, last week, he shared his struggles with fentanyl.
I've lost myself due to overdose quite a few times.
Moreland faced a judge Wednesday afternoon pleading not guilty to charges of attempted murder, robbery, and assault. Court documents reveal Moreland told deputies that he woke up as another human being and that his life had been continuously threatened in the last few days.
I just hope he gets the help he needs and he's not allowed to impact or hurt any other people.
Moreland has a preventative detention hearing tomorrow and another court appearance next week. As for the victim, his physical injuries were minor, although he tells me he won't be riding Max trains for quite a while. David?
Yeah, and who could blame him for that? Just glad he is okay. Thank you, Alma. Developing this evening, Washington County deputies are searching for a missing teenager. 14-year-old Anaya Singh was last seen this morning near Stoller Middle School in the Bethany area. She's 5'3" with brown hair, possibly worn in a bun. She was wearing a black hooded sweatshirt and gray sweatpants and carrying a black backpack. If you see her, call the Washington County Sheriff's Office. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, the man charged with murdering an off-duty Vancouver police officer testified in his own defense today. Julio Segura is accused of robbing a gas station, then leading police on a chase that ended at Officer Donald Sahoda's battleground home. The two fought, and Segura said he stabbed Sahoda in self-defense. In court today, Segura recalled hearing Officer Sahoda say the word police, but said he didn't believe he was actually an officer.
He starts saying, "I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to shoot you." So I'm thinking, I have to get him away from this gun. I have to somehow get his gun away from him because I am not trying to get shot.
Well, once Clark County deputies got to the scene, one of them shot and killed Officer Sahota, mistaking him for the suspect. That deputy is not facing any charges. In Vancouver, a family of 5 has been displaced after a van crashed into their apartment, narrowly missing a 7-year-old. This was Saturday evening near Northeast 15th Avenue and 94th Street. The van slamming through the wall and hitting the bed where the young girl was sleeping.
We did go to the hospital to check her out because her back did hurt, but she's just bruised. But she's alive, and that is what we are very, very thankful for.
The collision damaged the fire sprinkler system, soaking the apartment. A GoFundMe has now been set up to help them replace children's clothes and shoes. The Clark County Sheriff's Office says no charges have been filed against the driver. And if you're one of 33,000 Pacific Power customers who lost power this afternoon, this is why. The utility says a beaver chewed through a tree that then tumbled onto a power line, knocking out electricity in North and Northeast Portland around 4:30. Who knew? It turns out it is not the first time that's happened, though, with this particular tree, of course. Pacific Power says most people had their electricity restored within an hour. Crafty little beaver. All right, let's get to elections headlines now, where today Multnomah County DA Mike Schmidt conceded his re-election race to his challenger, senior deputy DA Nathan Vasquez. Now, both the Associated Press, the AP, and the Oregonian have called the race for Vasquez. He currently has a lead of about 8 percentage points, with ballots still being counted. Pat Doris talked with Vasquez today before Schmidt conceded to look ahead to his term.
Mike Schmidt released a statement congratulating Nathan Vasquez on the win and promising to help with a smooth transition. He also intends to serve out the rest of his term. It lasts until January. Crime rates soared under Schmidt, who is a criminal justice reform-minded district attorney. He and his supporters say his policies had nothing to do with the spike in crime. Vasquez says he will be compassionate but firm when dealing with drug users and drug dealers, and he will take a tougher stance towards homeless campers who block sidewalks, for example. But he stressed he is not against reforming the justice system.
I want to be clear, this isn't some referendum on criminal justice reform. That I am a believer in that, and that I'm going to continue to push that forward. I'm going to do it in a more thoughtful, detailed, and professional manner that makes sure that victims are always at the forefront of that discussion. But with that being said, there's still always room to improve, and we will continue to do that work and continue to push forward. We're just going to do it from a lens of a lot of experience coming forward.
I talked over many other issues with Vasquez, from bail reform to gun violence, and his vision for how he will impact Multnomah County when he gets sworn in. You can watch more of our interview. It's up now on the story section of the KGW YouTube page.
Our thanks to Pat for that. Let's take a look at some of the other key races that are still close tonight, including the Multnomah County Board of Commissioners in District 1. It appears there will be a runoff this November between social services policy expert Megan Moyer and administrative judge Vadim Mazurski. District 2, you're a similar story. Clinical social worker Shannon Singleton will be one of the candidates, though it is still close for the number 2 spot between former Portland Mayor Sam Adams and business owner Jesse Burke, about 600 votes or so separating them tonight. And District 4, which covers most of East County, may narrowly avoid a runoff. Right now, Gresham City Councilor Vince Jones-Dixon is out front, just a hair under 50%, which is the threshold for an outright win. You're seeing right here the system rounding that up to in the graphic. Keep in mind, ballots are still being counted, so this could change either way. And finally, in Clackamas County, incumbent chair Tootie Smith is trailing former Sheriff Craig Roberts. Roberts is over the 50% threshold right now. If that holds, he could win outright and avoid a November runoff.
It feels surreal. It's kind of hard to believe that it passed after so long.
Yeah, after failing for 30 years to convince voters, administrators in one small school district are celebrating and relieved their ballot measure finally passed. That $28 million bond, officials say, will allow for much needed repairs in the Jervis School District. The funds will go toward building a middle school, adding new roofs for the high school and elementary school. But the biggest part of this is that it will keep the district open, and Jervis students won't have to go to surrounding districts.
By putting in this major investment into the heart of the town, it only makes everybody else have more opportunities as well.
I do think that since COVID, that there's been a recognition that investments in public services has great value.
Many other school districts were able to pass measures too. Portland voters, for example, re-upped a teacher's levy, which pays for hundreds of positions. The only metro area school bond that voters turned down was in Estacada. Hey, if there's a race you're interested in that we did not mention, just text the word election, the number on your screen. That's 503-226-5088. We will text you back with a link straight to our full election results. You can also find them right now on KGW.com or on the KGW app.